皆様大変お待たせいたしました。定刻になりましたので、アジア学生映画カンファレンスマスタークラス、深田浩二監督をお迎えしたセッションを始めたいと思います。それでは早速お呼びしたいと思います。大丈夫？
Okay, so the time has come, so we'd like to begin this
深田浩二監督です。
Asian Students Film Conference. Let's welcome the director Fukada Koji.
もう監督とは東京国際映画祭は長い長いお付き合い。
So we've been together with you for a long time as a Tokyo International Film Festival. Thank you very much. No, so you became such a big person, so a big figure. So today we'd like to review his career. So this is the masterclass, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Okay, please take a seat. Okay, so the director. So this year you have this Love on Trial. This is your new piece, and you came back to the Tokyo International Film Festival. So I heard this. Oh, so you've been around 11 film festivals with this Love on Trial. Okay, so Professor, we are with you today. Okay, so I heard at the back that there are some people who doesn't have their receiver. Is it okay? So if you need English translation, please take a receiver. Okay, so we'd like to start. So this is a master class. I heard, well, I could talk freely was what I heard, and so there's a young students from Asia today, is what I heard. So I hope it will be a fruitful master class. So first, so what I want to say first is, so it's about money actually today. This will be the core of this class. So why I'm talking about the money is because, so of course you need to have money in order to have to express with the film. And in other Asian countries, I think other Asian countries have the same kind of situation, although the structure are different. So this is just one example of one director, but probably you can refer to it, or you can take it as an example or a bad example. So I'd like to talk about it. Okay, I'll go. So this is kind of my biography. So in 1999, when I was 19 years old, so I went to a school in Hibiya. Well, back then it was in Kyobashi, but that was near Tokyo Station. But now it's in Hibiya. So I went to this film school of Tokyo. Well, why I entered that school is because I love the films, of course. And since I was in middle school or high school, I've been watching films a lot. I was always watching movies, and I didn't have good grade at school, so because of that. And then I knew the existence of the film school of Tokyo, and I was just watching the film before, but then I realized that I could make a film myself. And what I was watching when I was in middle or high school, I was watching old films that was produced before I was born. And like Ishii Sogo, the director Ishii Sogo's film, or the independent films like Tsukamoto Shinya's films. So those were all independent films. And I wasn't watching these independent films. So then I realized that I could make film myself. And I saw this leaflet of the Film School of Tokyo, so I joined the school. So when I was graduating from the college, this 4 people out of 80 people were selected. This graduation work was selected, but mine was not selected. So I made this film called Isu. The direct translation is chair. So that was my independent film, my first independent film. And so I learned how to produce film at the school. And of course, I thought, well, probably I should experience the professional location of professional film shooting. So first, I did the lighting, the assistant lighting gaffer. So there's this action film director, Ishii, and so I couldn't sleep for 5 hours because I was the assistant. So, of course, but it was fun at the film shoot. So, of course, it was hard, but it was fun. And then I did like assistant for production designer and all other assistants. But all these film shoot were really hard. I was kicked, I was punched, and I was thinking probably I'm not made for filmmaking. So there was, of course, power harassment as well. That was the issue, and of course we have to improve that. We have to, improve the situation. But anyway, so after that, I made this independent film Isu, the chair. So this is a feature film. It's 120 minutes, and I had never made a short film, but also. Like all of a sudden, I made a feature film, and I think I shouldn't have done that now. Now I think so. So because I didn't know there was such thing as short films. What I was watching was always feature films. So I had no chance to see short films. Of course, Chris Malkel's films. I knew about those short films, but what came up to my mind were feature films. So I made a feature film. So, but that was independent film and with low budget. It was, of course, difficult to make it, and a lot of people sacrificed for my film. And that was released at Uplink Shibuya, with the VHS. I just handed this VHS to the owner of the Uplink Shibuya, that is the film theater in Shibuya, and then they told me they can screen that. And so that was my first time to have my film screened for public. But for the film preview, there were only 2 people. And one was my friend. So one was my friend at the Film School of Tokyo. So there were only 2 people. And the film started, and there wasn't, of course, any starring actor that you know, and the independent films were not screened that much in the theaters in Japan back then, and only Uplink was screening those kind of films. And so I made this leaflet by ourselves. And we were screening like 3 times a day and for 2 weeks. And so that was actually a bold experience, and there were no audience coming in, like 0 in a day. So I didn't know before, but if there's no audience, it will just stop after 15 minutes from the beginning of the film. So after a few minutes, I went home. I went somewhere else, and then I came back to the film theater after that for the next screening. So that was what I experienced. So I'm saying uplink again and again. So I have this complicated feeling now about uplink. Well, that was a problem. That screening of mine was uplink. So after that, I haven't been showing my film in uplink. I feel like it's a curse there. Well, of course, if you're from a foreign country, probably you didn't understand what I was saying, but anyway. So, okay, so that's it for this topic. And from 2006, I made the Pomegranate House. I made it with Toei Animation. And this was my first time that I had the money invested in my film. And so I made it, and I brought it to like screenings. Well, I was going to the screenings, and then I could meet these people from Toei Animation. And so this film is animation, and these Toei Animations were looking for this animation. So I heard it from someone, and I made this project documents, like a pitched documents, and then I brought it to Toei Animation, and then they said, okay, they gave me a green light. And so there's my friend director, who told me about this project. He couldn't have the money invested, so I felt sorry for him. So it was only like a few million yens, but anyway, I could make this film, and then after that I continued making films, and then so as of now, by 2025, I've made 10 feature films. Okay, I'm just wondering if the time is okay. So, okay, I brought this picture. This was in 2003 or 2004, maybe, probably 2003. I was 23 years old, and I was making independent film here. So this was my house. I was having a camera on the roof, and there's a, of course, actor in front of the camera. And so I did all the production design and the lighting and the cameraman. I did all of them by myself. And of course, if you're a film director, probably you can imagine. But so this is kind of the artistic films. So if you're the independent film, which you write film and shoot film by yourself, of course the work for the film director is not only making films, but also to advertise that is very different too. So okay, I'm talking this in Tokyo International Film Festival now, but this picture is of 2019, and I was at Cartago International Film Festival in Tunisia. And I made the film named A Girl Missing, and I brought that to this Tunisia International Film Festival. So I think if you say film festival, I think the many people, or general people, would imagine this red carpet and this gorgeous scene, but that is just one part of the film festival. So there's some things like what we are doing now, Asian Student Film Conference, and this the big function of the film festival is actually the market.
And a good example might be a fish market, because the fish market used to be in Tsukiji in Tokyo. Now it has moved to Toyosu. But every city has a fish market, right? And there's where you can discover fresh fish. And you also meet the fish company people, also the sushi chefs, because they all come to buy fresh fish that they're going to serve at the restaurant. Film festival is very similar because they are fresh, new films or movies, or even before being filmed, there is a proposal idea market like TIFF and also Dildam Khan. All of them have these film markets. So the new fresh work or some new projects are all gathered there, and producer and also investors for films come here to make great new discoveries. So it's like a fish market to me. And in Cartago here, I'm on the right side, and on the left next to me is a local distributor person. He's from Tunisia. And so it is a great networking place, as you can see. So as a film director, especially for these type of independent work, promoting the work is also an important responsibility. And I want to talk about the unique characteristics of film expression, but as I said, I want to talk about funding or money of films. And why I decided to talk about this topic in this masterclass, because how to collect money means what kind of expressions you want to make and what kind of movies you want to make. These topics are very much linked, because there is something unique about the characteristics of movie compared to manga or novels or music or stage performance. Comparing with these different types of arts, how is film expression different? There should be a lot of differences, because literature is about writing, theater performance is about doing something on the stage, but there's a definite difference. Movies are expensive. Huge amount of money is needed to create one film. That's a big difference from other types of art. Without action, without car action, without just a human drama, you have to pay the guarantee to the actors, and then also you have to make sure that you have the right funding to put it into screening. So it's already a lot of money. It's like hundreds of millions of Japanese yen. So as I said here, the numbers are like tens of millions, hundreds of millions, or even billions of Japanese yen. Because 500 million yen in Hollywood is a small budget project. So how can we lower the economical or financial risk of film production is the key topic, especially for producers. And movie companies. How can we mitigate the risk? There are different approaches. For example, one short featuring a very popular, adapting a very popular original work, like original novel. Because in Japan, animation is very positively growing right now, but 90% has like original work. So that's one approach. And also another one is to use a very popular star, a movie star, or comedians. So featuring a very well-known figure is another way to mitigate or lower the risk of the financial investment or the spending. But the key is, though there are different possible approaches, the key is, for example, adapting a famous original work featuring a very popular actor. And also the screenplay is something that is understandable by many people, or it could be a screenplay that everybody can feel safe to cry about. For example, like this might not be the right way to say this, but the protagonist's wife dies because of a serious disease. That's something that is universally something that people will cry on. But you always need like a good ending, otherwise people won't be convinced. So these are ways that you can mitigate the financial risk, but maybe you might think that is very constrained. It might be restricting the expressions, possible expressions in the movie, because it has to be a famous movie star, because you have to follow the story of the original work. Even there are in Japan, in China, in South Korea, in Asia, there are so many good actors. A lot of them, unless the person is really well known, is difficult to feature. Same for screenplay. That could limit the possible storylines or narratives. You might want to leave the ending very vague, but commercially you might be required to have like a clear and understandable ending. So each approach of lowering the financial risk of movie production could be limiting our expressions. And it's not about what is the right movie or wrong movie, but in general, we have to say that movie expression is always conservative. It's easy to make something really conservative. For example, even you are adapting original work, if there's suddenly the movie would add a different romantic kind of aspect on it, and in the original work is kind of like a regular girl who is the protagonist, but suddenly in the movie you see like a very glamorous, like celebrity type of girl there. So there's always a difference or limitation in the expression. It's not right or wrong. But movie is a very conservative media, and it requires different various ways of sourcing fund. There are only 3 types, I would say, as far as I know, how you can make money. First is to get finance, investment, or loans from movie production companies or financial institutes. So this is business investment type of approach, and recouping the investment by successful performance or business of the film. Number 2, this is a very important area for diversity. This is subsidy from public institutes. So the cultural agency and also the Ministry of Economy in Japan is also expanding support in this area. For example, if you want to make a movie with 200 million yen, you have to mitigate the risk, you have to recover by the sales. So, but if there is 100 million, half of it supported by public subsidy or grant, it could give you more options to go down different creative paths of featuring actors in the story. And the number 3 is private investment and also sponsorship, private donation. So crowdfunding is emerging today. But in addition to that, there could be corporate sponsorship And in the film industry, there's always some kind of sponsorship or cooperation, for example, for the costumes. You see that. So by patchworking these three approaches, that's how the funding of movies are made. And it depends on what type of movie that you want to create. If it's like genre film, like horror or action, we see a lot of cases with option number one. So it's more like a film movie business of making mega hits and successful box office performance would collect the money. But when it's more like creative or independent, you'll see more funding come from number two and number three. So the producer, or if you are a producer, like a producer type of director, how you make the best mix, optimal mix of these three type of sources really influences how your film. If you want to do a really bold, artistic type of film, it's hard to get funding from the first option because you can't make a business model to collect the investment well.
So in that case, you need this donation or the sponsorship from the private sector, and also you need grants from the public organization. So I'll talk about Japan here now. So probably, but Asian countries are kind of in the same situation. So please compare Japan and your own country. So now we live in Japan, and so what kind of patchworking or what kind of combination we can make? So this is the charts for 2020, the budget for the cultural things. So this is a little bit before COVID. So of course, the systems are changing after this, but in 2020, the budget for cultural affairs is this. So the top one is Agency for Cultural Affairs. It's 116.6 billion yen was the budget of the government. So it's about $11 billion, or well, $7 billion, I would say. So, okay, so in France, this Ministry of Culture, so it's like 462 billion yen a year is the budget. And Korea, it's 443.8 billion yen. So it's like 3 times or 4 times difference. So I say this Agency of Cultural Affairs in Japan, but of course the one that is funding for like culture and everything like that is not only Agency of Cultural Affairs in Japan. Of course, other agencies or other ministries are spending money for that too. So of course we have many other funding as well. But of course it's the same for other countries as well. So I'd like to just compare this figure from these agencies or these ministries. So okay, so you cannot compare only with the number of this budget because the scale of the country differs from country to country. So, but if you compare like how many the percentage of the spending for the cultural affairs and the overall budget of the country, then in Japan it's 0.11%, and the France is 0.92%, and the Korea is 1.24%. So which means Korea is spending more for the cultural affairs than France. And so if you compare Japan and Korea, it's like Japan is like 1/9 or 1/10 of Korea. So of course the result would change, as you can see. So what I want to say is in Japan, the government is spending very little money for the cultural affairs. And this but situation of funding or grants from the government are improvement in Japan. Of course, the funds from Agency of Cultural Affairs are not changing that much. Of course, they're making effort, but it's not changing that much. Of course, because it's because of the policy of the government. Agency of Cultural Affairs itself is making an effort. But the Ministry of Economy have these things like JROCs, and they are funding or granting the films or other arts forms. And so the situation is improving. So if you want to make movie in Japan, or if you want to have co-production with Japan, probably you can go to Agency of Cultural Affairs or JROCs. Look for JROCs. But what I want to say here is, so this budget for cultural affairs. So okay, you might think, okay, if the Ministry of Economy is spending this much, maybe it's okay, but actually, this Love on Trial had the funding from the JROCs, and I was helped a lot. But that is not the budget for cultural affairs. This budget was from, well, this funds was from Ministry of Economy. So actually, the quality of it was different. So this budget for culture is like budget for the variety of products. So the Agency for Cultural Affairs would fund the things that might not sell too. But this Ministry of Economy are funding for different purpose. So okay, so there's not much fund from the public organizations. Then what about from the private sector or the donation? So actually. Okay, so we need another combination as well, so which is the sponsorship from the private sector. So if you see the donation from the individuals, it doesn't mean that it's for cultural affairs, but if you see this donation, amount of the donation, if you see the percentage of the donation, the United States is spending that much. So of course, there's a kind of religious background in the United States, but not only that. Well, United States have this system of donation. If they donate for the cultural affairs, then there'll be the taxation merits as well. So it's kind of the one way of paying taxes. So, but anyway, the American independent film situation is of course tough too. But if you see Japan here in this chart, it's 0.12%, so it's almost the same as France. So to add to that, so about 2,000 billion yen are actually donated for cultural affairs. That's a lot of money. So what you can see from here is that, so this patchworking, a combination of things are very important, but this donation from the private sector and this funds from the government or the public sector are law. The percentage of it is law. Of course, if I say law, it's too small, then probably the Agency of Cultural Affairs, the people from Agency of Cultural Affairs might get angry. So I would say, so it's insufficient. So because of that reason, it's very difficult to have these kind of combination. So then, so that means we need to make film that you can use as a business, and then so that we can collect money back. But of course, in Japan, it's difficult to do that either, because difficult to do that too. So this is the 2019. So this is a little bit before the COVID. So it's before the COVID because, you know, if it's during the pandemic, the data might not be useful. So this is the box office number of 2019. So of course, from this chart, you could see that animation is very strong. And if you see, the right-hand side column, the distribution company is actually 8 out of 10 are Toho. So, well, 7 are made by Toho. So this is Tokyo International Film Festival, and of course, we're related to Toho. So, but anyway, if you see the Toho website, of course, they have a big network of film theaters, Toho Film Theaters, so Toho Cinema. So this is kind of the old data. This is 2014. So this is the box office number, the change of box office number of Japanese films, depending on the distribution company. So this is the number of 2011 here. So if you see this graph, so this is the overall box office number is this the one that is this vertical line. And this pale blue is Toho, and this dark blue is Shochiku. Well, this pale, the very pale one is Toho, and then Toei, and then Shochiku. So there are major studios in Japan, and Toei and Toho and Shochiku have this tradition and very old film distributors and film studios as well. It's three biggest film studio in Japan. So what it means is, it means Toho, Toei, and Shochiku, other than these three companies, the ratio of the percentage of all the box office is just this white part, so it's just a little bit. So this white part includes all the independent films and other films. So in this 20%, we have to compete within this 20% of the box office. So sorry, but my film is Toho film. This time, this Love and Troll is Toho. So, but anyway, of course, I wanted to talk about Toho. Okay, Mr. Fukada, only 15 more minutes.
Yeah, we have 15 minutes left. Okay. I thought we are saving 10 minutes for Q&A. So you have, yes, that's why you have another 10 minutes to talk for your presentation. Okay, so we can skip some slides. So in Japan, we have limited grants or subsidy and limited donation. So the major three film companies are pretty much dominating the industry. So the independent had only 20% share to battle in. But with the smallest share, because box office is always the source of funding, it means that they always have to work with low budget. And low budget means that it gives like really bad working environment for the staff on set because there's limited number of days for shooting, and you have to be working like over late hours, which is prone to cause like power harassment or bullying at work. So it's not fair, but how can we keep making movies under this difficult condition? That's my second topic here in my presentation. But before that, I have to talk about this one. So with low budget, it makes really unfair working or labor environments to the people working there. So my message here is it does directly impact the creativity, because if you need to spend 3 months on shooting, but actually you realistically only allowed like 1 month or 3 weeks acting or directing, what you can do is very limited. And you want to have a sunny day, but it happens to be cloudy, but you don't have a contingency. So you have to shoot on the cloudy day. You want a rainy scene, but it is sunny, so it is not intentional. So a lot of Japanese movies, you might think that it should be a sunny scene, but there's a lot of rain there. It's because it's not the creative intention. There was no choice. So it does limit, creativity. That's one thing about the negative side of low budget. And also unfair working environment because of the low wage, unstable income, and also it does cause workplace bullying. So it only leaves chance for people who can tolerate that. But you might think Vincent van Gogh was poor. He didn't have money. He was still very creative. He was creative in such a difficult, harsh condition. And I know that an influencer quoted Gogh as a good example, but he is successful now, but he didn't sell any pieces when he was alive. But he continued to do his creative because he was supported by his family. His younger brother, Theo, was always there to help. He had support to continue his creative career. But there are many Van Goghs that could not continue without the family support, like Theo. males have advantage in the film industry today. There are a lot of disadvantages for different positions. So people who are tolerable to harsh conditions are the only ones that can survive. That is not fair. I had to make this point. And as a summary for this section, I would like to say that yes, cultural diversity is important, but that means we need a diversity of humans, those who make creation or expression, and also the diversity of the viewers. Unless we see diversity there, we can't truly create a diverse society. So how can we continue making films? We do need to provide the right condition and the environment. It is not just the responsibility of ministries or public servers, but it's also us in the film industry. So I have another 15 minutes to move on to my next topic. So now let's talk about independent films. I am going to share my history of my journey to today. I think there are 5 points here, 5 approaches. Number 1, to make always creation that is entertaining and relatable for people. Keep the creation producible in a small scale. If you have only 10 million, 50 million, or 100 million of budget, you have to make your film within that budget. Also, work with volunteers. So, because most of the cost of making a film is the manpower cost, so have volunteers of staff and actors, and also try to rely on subsidy grants and donation. And number 5, increase or grow the market for people to watch films. The blue-colored number 1 and number 2, these are effective measures, but when it comes of constraining creativity, there is a risk, because you might have to change the screenplay according to the budget, where the location or what you can do. And number 2, we would like to avoid this approach as much as possible, because it does directly, negatively impact motivation of creating good film. So we have to focus on the other 3. So I'm going to go back down my filmography. This is the first one, Toei Animation funded and invested. This is an animation film that was funded 100% by Toei. This is called the Pomegranate House. So it relied on the number 1 option for funding, but it was a very low budget. So also I stated number 3 here, private sponsorship. I had the pictures done by my high school classmate. So we came from the same high school, and both of us received no pay. So that's why technical staff and actors, we did pay them money, but that's where we used out the budget, so we did it at free. So it was based on my personal connection. So the director and also the visual director did this pro bono. This is the next one. 2008, I did Human Comedy in Tokyo, and Rome Film Festival selected this, but this was a purely independent production. And how did I get the funding? Again, there was no budget from the film company. So number 3, option number 3, private donation. Also, there was a casual loan, very risky, scary name. Mizuho Ginko, Mizuho Bank had this loan program, and this casual loan actually helped me. And also, the production house that did the Pomegranate House with me helped me out. So it was like, like a friendly support money that they gave maybe. So that's what I used. And number 2, I did receive some public grant, because there was a youth organization film. I used to belong to a youth organization, and there was a public subsidy supporting that organization for film production, and part of the fund was also provided to my project. So that's how we managed the money. And next one is my film Hospitality. The budget was too low, cast, staff, everyone worked with no pay and working overnight every day. It was not sustainable after there. So that's why from this film, Hospitality, it was the first time that we formed a production committee, which is a unique structure of Japan. So different stakeholders, companies participating in the project with funding. So this is a way to mitigate the financial risk because there are more stakeholders and funders. I know I have another 10 minutes. I can still talk. And so there was the production committee's funding because the film companies that I know is who I made my proposal to. I asked for support and sponsorship and investment. So Kinokuniya Shoten and a bookstore and a book chain and also Little is an actor's agent. So I said that I can feature their actors. So I asked them to fund and also a post-production company house as well. And again, the youth organization grant supported me for about 1 million yen, so that was public funding, and also private investment is what I relied on.
And of course, you should make the film in a smaller scale because so I made the location only one place. I just because it's only one place, you don't need to move that much. So you take time if you have to move from one location to another. So I just made the location only one place so that I can make it with low budget. So, and I try not to work overnight. Because of that, we could just work until 10 p.m. and not overnight. Okay, so translator, please make best effort. I'm talking probably fast, but anyway. So I had this production committee for the Sayonara, the film Sayonara, and I used the crowdfunding for the first time. So for the screenplay and for the planning, I used this crowdfunding money. And of course, I try to make it in small scale. Of course, like even if you have a big budget, of course, you need to just revise the screenplay so you can make it within the budget. So there's a producer of Love and Trial over there, and she's laughing now, but it happens, of course. So you have to revise the screenplay so that it will match the budget. So okay, and I try to expand the market as well. So what it means is I try to have co-production. So I try to have co-production with Korea, but we couldn't gather money at Korea. So then I try to have co-production with France, and there's Cinema du Monde, which is the fund from France. This is a fund from France for foreign films. So I applied for that, but I couldn't get the money anyway. So it didn't become a co-production in the end, but anyway, I tried for that. And then my next film is, so from here, this is the, it becomes a co-production with another country. So this Harmonium was screened in Cannes Film Festival. So it was a France and Japan co-production. So about the funds from the government, we have culture and art promotion grant, and also I could have grant from Cinema du Monde as well. And of course, I had sponsors for the costumes and things like that. And so this is my film, Harmonium. And of course, many things happen. We couldn't use the motorbike. We used the bicycle instead. So for this, I tried to expand the market. So we had the co-production with the France. Because we had co-production with the France, of course, it will be released in France. So they'll think they are sure they have a French audience as well. So from the, probably you can get certain money from Japan, only a certain amount of money. But of course, if you do it with France, you can have money from France, and there will be actually there are more audience in Japan than in France for this film. Okay, and this is the title. The title is The Man from the Sea. And we have this production committee in Japan, and also it's the co-production between Indonesia, France, and Japan. And also we had the funds from Agency of Cultural Affairs, and also we had sponsor from the private sector. So for the first time, not the crowdfunding, but because I have this Tokyo Garage, this is kind of a paper company. I'm the only one who is in the company, but I I established that when I made the Sayonara. And a month before we started shooting, we knew that we didn't have enough budget. So we tried to actually cut the casting, decrease the number of the casting, but we sought for the sponsor from the private sector, and I could have 4.19 million yen from this private sector. So it's really a patchwork. It's a combination of everything, and I could start shooting because of that. So number two, so that was, so we have to make films in smaller scale, and we have to have grants, and we had this, The Man from the Sea, released in Indonesia and France as well. And okay, so and the last title is A Girl Missing. So this is Japan-France co-production again, and we had grants from the Agency for Cultural Affairs and French CNC. And also we had donation and sponsorship from the private sector as well. So like this. So the films other than that, we made something like this. So I had this drama, and I made that with the TV channels money investment, but that was the only one which I had only one source of financing. But so in Japan, there's not many selection of this patchwork in this combination. So of course, to make the independent film, you have to have different, various way of making films. So actually, if there was an agreement between Japan and France about this co-production, we can have the grants from France. There are actually more than 100 grants and 100 kinds of grants in France. But if you want to make with France, now the choice is only Cinéma du Monde. So, but if we have the agreement between France and Japan, we can have more choice. So in France, there is the CNC, and also Korea, there is a COFIC. This is the So CNC is not for films. This is for video games and animations as well. This is the National Center of Cinema. So actually, there is this public center, public organization, or for the government organization. But in Japan, there's no such thing as CNC. So we have to combine all these grants from different ministries and different agencies. But there is no great network between these ministries. So we don't have this. So because there's no people in the film industry in those ministries who have the experience of film industry, so this is not working very well. This is not functioning very well. So and of course, if you want to have grant from these ministries or agencies, this is of course the taxpayers' money. So probably people might think, so why don't you give grants to this steel company, but to this film company? Probably there would be that kind of complaint, so you have to think about which film to give the grants. But in other countries, there's like a ticket tax. So when you buy the ticket, when the audience buy the ticket, so France is 10% of the ticket, and in Korea is 3% of the ticket that will be taken as a tax to make the new film, and also the percentage of the when the film is screened on the TV, a percentage of that budget is paid at the tax too, and you can use that to make new films. So it's like circulating the money in the film industry. So we had this forum, Cinema Japan, with Toho and Filmmakers Guild. We kind of gathered here at this forum, and the president of Toho there, what he said there was, so there's not many cineasts who are against the Japanese version of CNC. So okay, so I'm actually the activist with Koreeda, the director Koreeda, to make the CNC, Japanese version CNC. So there's not many people who are against that. So we can get the percentage of Toho films, Toho Cinema. But of course, in order to get tax from Toho Cinema, from the ticket, then we have to change the law. Then we have to talk to the government and the ministries. So if we talk to the ministries and we change the law, probably the film industry will change too. So that is the situation in Japan. So in Southeast Asia or any other Asian countries, I think they have the same kind of situation. So probably refer to our situation. Thank you very much. Sorry, translators. I get complaints a lot of time, but that finished in on time, so that was great. Okay, so okay, let's go to the Q&A on time. If you have any question, please raise your hand.
とても身になるお話を伺ってきましたけれども。
Thank you so much for sharing very informative insight. Collecting money is, of course, very critical. And by structuring even more diverse sourcing, what is the role of the film festival? How did it contribute in your journey? There are a lot of roles, because the film festival also serves the roles as the fish market, I would say. So discovering new talents is a very important aspect. The first production committee that I formed for my work, hospitality, it was actually selected in 2010 Tokyo International Film Festival, and it was rewarded. And that really gave me the opportunity to be invited to different film festivals. So for my awareness, it played a huge role. And I think I have participated in about 10 markets now. And my latest work, Love in Trial Rotterdam, and the other film festival is where I really took the opportunity to get fundings, and the other work for Hong Kong, Taiwan, Busan. By receiving awards at the film market, post-production, I did it in Bangkok, Thailand, but it's because I did receive an award there, local award. That's why. So film festival plays a huge role. Everyone, please reach out to and access other film festivals and other markets. Any other questions? The microphone is coming to you, so please wait a second. The donation part was very interesting to me. Tokyo International Film Festival, 6% of tax reimbursement we can enjoy from crowdfunding. And the home tax payment system, Furusato Nose, is also very interesting, because the local municipal government, if they are in between, I think you can get like 100% reimbursement. Naginoto was a film that I did film in a local prefecture in Japan, and I did really took advantage of that hometown tax payment. But 4%. So if you are in like rural areas, you can get 10% reimbursement. If it's in Tokyo, there is a limitation on the tax refund. So if you can mix and combine the different tax system or financial measures, that could work as an advantage. Yes, for a director, the voice of the producer is very important, so we have to work in a team. Thank you very much. Great insight. And Tokuda-san is working on this initiative. The cultural budget is used for ballet and other stage performance art, which limits the allocation to movies industry, I think. But there is expectation that the Ministry of Economy is amplifying their financial support. Cool Japan and other projects did not really were not successful, because they mix all like anime, films, and all the other type of arts all together. But how they're made, the history of each type of art is different, culture is different, so it didn't work consistently across all the different type of art. So now with the production committee across different stakeholders, bringing them all at the table to have a unified discussion, finally a small but big step forward has been made. So the siloed vertical industry composition is now making a shift to a new collaboration model. Thank you very much. I think we can take another question. Anyone from the floor? Let's go to the back side of the audience to take a question. Thank you very much for your interesting presentation. Expanding the market is what you talked about. Is it about co-production? But what other options do we have? Besides co-production, there are other approaches, of course. So outside of Japan, there are markets that, even if it's not co-production, there are opportunities. So when you're launching your work, you should be looking at overseas market, for example, adding English subtitles and applying to different film festivals outside of Japan. That could be also an awareness opportunity. But be careful about when you launch your film, because world premiere is a condition, usually Tokyo Film Festival as well. So because you have completed your film and you're so happy and excited, you launch it immediately, you might miss the chance to meet the qualifications of world premiere. So please plan your schedule of when you're going to launch and start screening. And can I add another comment I forgot to say earlier? I think we have a lot of students in the room today. And please enjoy and understand the value of being a new director, because there are a lot of financial support and subsidiary cultural financial support for young and new directors. Because you're young and new, the concept is to help some up-and-coming directors. Before awareness, before established career, you do need help. That's why there's a lot of grant programs. So Cinema du Monde, that's a subsidiary, French subsidiary, and there is this category of new film directors, Wim Wenders, Wong Kar-wai. There will be great masters that you have to fight against if you go to other type of grants. But if you are a new director, there is more possibility that you can win. And also in Rotterdam, the Tiger Award is a competition for young directors. And if you win there, it gives you a chance to get some funding or subsidiary for your next work. So Busan for other areas as well, like film festivals, do support. And it's the number of feature films that you have made. It's not about the physical age of the director to qualify to these applications. So in Japan, low-budget films are, kind of a popular approach. But after you have made a couple of films, you realize that, I should apply for some subsidiary, but I realized that already with low budget, I had created too many numbers of feature films, so I didn't qualify anymore for new director's subsidiary. So short-form films, make a couple, and apply for some new director grants at a film festival, find a producer, and that is kind of like, a common path through a new director's career. Thank you very much.
深田浩二監督、ありがとうございました。